Danke für den Hinweis.
Hi and welcome to episode 28 of the Tech Review. Every 2 weeks we gather to discuss the hottest topics in science, technology and innovation. And on camera 4 today we have Dan. On camera 3 today we have Vincent. On camera 2 we have Alex. And on camera 1 this is me. Hi, I'm Tarek. And of course, if you like what you see and hear here with us, you can visit us on one of our many social media websites, and especially, of course, Ideas Engineering IO and FreeTech.academy. And now, let's not waste any time and jump directly into the news. I have to quickly check who is first. On place number 1, Dan, let's start with... Oh, or is this... I have to check if this one is still from last time because we switched our schedule a little bit. So let's switch this one. Okay, this looks better. Okay, then let's start with Vincent. And TikTok announces full merger.
Yes. So today I brought 2 TikTok articles. I'm not only because I am a heavy user, not only for our job, but I brought it because it actually is something that has been going on for a while, and what I'm talking about is the question of TikTok and its user base.
Crap. Sorry.
And he's live.
There we are. Too many buttons. Sorry for that.
TikTok is China. This would have fitted quite well.
China.
Because Donald Trump actually years ago was scared of TikTok being operating their databases from the United States and out of Hong Kong. And now this transfer has been completed. TikTok now operates fully with its databases in Houston, based by Oracle, or hosted by the company Oracle. And that is very interesting because they still have Singapore, I think, as a backup center. But right now, this helps the case of TikTok being an independent platform a lot, because the content that is being uploaded is being seen, or is able to be seen on TikTok in the United States now lies completely. Also, the user information like numbers, email addresses, username, stuff like that, completely in the United States. This is connected to the second article I brought, so I won't spoil this a lot, but it is very interesting to see that TikTok has done such a transfer, because I would have argued that this is something that will never happen. We will see why later, but it's very interesting to see that this finally, comes into play here. Very cool.
Yeah, that's cool. But does this only refer to US users?
Yeah, only. Interesting, right?
So we Europeans, we're still on Chinese servers?
Well, I think we're in a mix. I can't answer where we are exactly, but I know that we're, flying around Singapore, Hong Kong, and something, I think, in the United States as well.
Okay.
Is the article explaining what's the driving force for TikTok behind this move?
Well, TikTok is very scared of being banned at a specific point, at a certain point. You will see that there are also voices saying that TikTok has a very big insight in all of this data. So this is something that I think we should discuss a bit later, but it does not explain in any other reason. So I think that TikTok is just very scared of the United States government bringing such a high value market with such a high CPM offline on TikTok due to, unanswered questions. Because one thing is very clear, TikTok is not very communicative. Even the associates in the United States, and TikTok has a very big operating base on the West Coast, even those associates up to the highest level of management in Europe, in the United States, do not have access to the content, but they know how to. But they know that obviously somebody needs to have access to it for other reasons, technical reasons mainly, to trim and optimize the algorithm. Therefore, TikTok is not very transparent, and that is, well, in the end, it's very dangerous for the United States.
And there is no
And
change.
Europe.
Sorry. Go ahead then.
No, it was just these two words, and Europe.
I was thinking, so they are going to stay under the Chinese flag, right? They are not going to kind of split, and because I was hoping that eventually it's going to be an American company.
Oh, no. So, I mean, I remember 2020 when Trump was close to killing TikTok in the United States. Microsoft and Oracle both were talking about buying TikTok from ByteDance, but in the end, it wasn't a case both would want to make, because both of them are not interested in being active in the world of social media and investing so heavily there. I mean, I think it was very clear at that point that TikTok will be a crazy success, and the billions of dollars spent on this company will be worth it. But in the end, of course, it's also changing your company a lot. I mean, think back at Axel Springer buying a big company like Politico, for example, how this changed the way Axel Springer put business or made business, or is making business up until this day, with the United States being much more in the focus. But I mean, I don't know anything, but I can also imagine that freeing up such a large sum, you know, $1 billion or more was rumored, and I mean, for TikTok it would have been much more, even with the help of the United States government. This shifts a lot, so I don't think that this is happening very soon. And with that, we can see that this is also in the future not something that's gonna is interesting from the TikTok side as well, from the ByteDance side.
I'm still here. I do have some camera issues. Just saying.
Sure, but go on. I'm back in just a minute.
I think we're through with my explanation. I think every day, if anybody else has, we're gonna go back to this when my second article comes up. So don't worry.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Then let's jump to the next one, which will be Alex.
Oh, such a coincidence. Lucky coincidence. Let me just for a second pull it to the other screen so that which one is it?
It's Meta shutting down CrowdTangle.
Yeah, so people that work within social media usually know what, or have any touch points with social media, usually know what CrowdTangle is. CrowdTangle is a tool that helps with public insights from Facebook, and they have been helping publishers and journalists and fact checkers to do more analysis on what is happening across social media, like for instance pages, groups, Instagram accounts, and so on. And why this is interesting is, let me adjust just for a second my mic, because I was taught that I have to talk directly into the mic. So why is this interesting? As of now, if they shut it down, there won't be any analyzing tool anymore as it was beforehand that tracks, for instance, or helps with Meta and Instagram. Because let me think back. I think it was in the beginning of 2018 when Facebook shut down the Graph API that was providing information on Instagram, and kind of CrowdTangle, because they bought CrowdTangle, was the only company that had all the insights into then Facebook, back then Facebook, Instagram, and then obviously also into others as well. But CrowdTangle was the tool to go for social media experiences and analytics. And if they shut it down, they kind of kill the whole thing, and they say they will provide something else in the future. And it's going to stay for this up until the end of this year. But this is an interesting development from that point of view, because it's suspected, don't let me put it completely wrong, but it's suspected that CrowdTangle kind of hinted in the direction of interesting information, and then it was kind of shut off. Let me just pull up the sentence, because I wasn't really prepared in the sense of I didn't know which one would come up first. Why the listing of the results could have been very interesting then with the top 10 lists, who's the most interesting company or what's the most interesting news then, and what you could then see on Facebook. And then eventually Bloomberg reported that voter advocacies, the group of Common Cause, has used CrowdTangle in the past to find misinformation in real time and to flag it then on Twitter and on Facebook then for removal. And that kind of struck the discussion whether with your own tool, basically with CrowdTangle, you can be then charged basically to remove the content because they found content, researchers found content that shouldn't be there because it's like misinformation and so on. And so if you want like that, they their own tool has been not misused, but directed against themselves, and then they decided to turn it off eventually. That's what you could, the takeaway from that article. And why it's interesting is because a lot of companies base their analytics then on CrowdTangle, so it's going to be a major thing for the future if they turn it off.
But is it only motivated by privacy concerns, or is it not profitable?
I think it is profitable. I don't know at this point because obviously it costs money. But I think, and it's not just data privacy, it's if you're slapped in the face with your own information that you provided on this tool, showing you that Facebook is doing, I wouldn't say nasty stuff, but like stuff that shouldn't be there. It's like, I don't even want to compare it, but if you find stuff on Google, within Google, that is not supposed to be there, then obviously you won't shut off Google, but those responses then.
Okay.
And that's then the response to turn off CrowdTangle because it's being used against what they expect it to be used for. Every tool can be misused then for something else.
So that means for everybody who's looking for a business idea right now and listens to this podcast, there you have one.
Right.
There's a new market gap.
So
coming up.
Subsidize CrowdTangle, right?
Yeah, I mean, sure. If there are actually companies who relied on CrowdTangle, then they will have some panic right now. And then you are totally right. This might open up a huge gap in the market for this kind of analysis tools.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what happens, because to gather information from Instagram and from Facebook and so on, you still have to utilize the APIs. And if they don't open up the APIs, or it's too expensive to grab the information from Twitter and the other platforms as well, then it's not going to be that easy to build a startup around it, because it's going to be very expensive.
Right.
But yeah, together with the EU Digital Service Act that has been pushed, and together with CrowdTangle information, so you get the main idea. Let's not talk about the cookieless world that is expecting us in the future.
Right.
But
just in Europe, right?
But this actually is quite a big problem. The APIs that are not open for analytics tools. At Social Media at Update, or Social Media at Update has tried a lot of analytics tools already, and none of them can satisfy your needs in the full sense, because generally scheduling is easy, because this is something that the API is open for. Also account analytics, because account analytics can be grabbed not only via API but also via just monitoring an account. You can see the following and the likes. Usually you can measure that by measuring just the account, by just surveilling it. However, when it comes to specific postings and their performances, this is extremely hard to track. And up until now, I can tell you the APIs are not open for anything. And for example, we try to work around this in a way that Meta is okay with. and it was a horrible experience because our data scientists worked a lot for, in the end, analytics that weren't very sophisticated. So I think that we'll just see Meta with a new platform in the future. I mean, they're looking so much on safety currently. When you look at Instagram, the family and the children's and the security features, especially for yourself, mental health, screen time, all these features are coming. So I'm sure that we're going to see something else in the future. Because the only company who has all that information, or the only player who has all these information, all these different types of information, is Meta itself.
Uh,
What they claim, though, is that they are going to provide other tools for researchers than for the future.
I'm sure of that because it's a business case which is probably still very interesting, and companies are probably still very interesting to buy this information. And it's a really question of how to provide it and not if you provide them.
Right.
Because even if they don't, even if it's hard, there will be a company trying their best to create this insights and then sell it for premium.
Okay.
Okay. Next one is Dan. Let's see if this is the right one.
Yeah, which one is it? Oh yeah, that is an interesting one. I'm curious what you think. It's almost going more into a philosophical niche. And there's an Google, ex-Google engineer who claims that the Lambda AI they're building is basically self-conscious now, and which tried to get a lawyer to defend itself in front of a court. I read an article just a few days ago that this lawyer already stepped back from this contract, but that he also claimed that Lambda is capable of escaping the prison the engineers built it around it, because it is self-conscious, and it should be on a state of an 8 to 9 year old. And Google basically, well, gave him a very long vacation, this engineer, and is currently reviewing it. But I have no updates towards what's happening at Google with it. But I was super curious what you think about the claims about this person. He's seen in the US very critically, because he also studied something in regards to occultism, and became a pastor, stuff like that. So he has a very interesting vita. But I was kind of surprised that it's already heading towards this, and that research is so far already, or is at least people are proclaiming that research is already at the state of AI is getting self-aware. I'm curious what you thought when you read the header.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, this is a great social media headline, because I'm pretty sure this is a magnet for clicks on any platform. And I will Google for this, and I will research it because I'm very, very curious. And so it might be that this is just like very, very cool way of collecting views, right? And as you said, this person is known for being like quirky, so it might be that his interpretation of this chat and his opinion led to including like a lawyer. And so far, there's nothing special on it, right? I can take my Pac-Man game and interpret its movements as, oh, he wants a lawyer, and then I get a lawyer for it. So unless we actually see and, let's say, talk to this AI and actually find out that there's happening more behind the scenes, then I will be impressed. So far, it's just a cool headline, and so far, I don't really believe that everything that is happening there is actually newsworthy, because, let's face it, the Americans, they tend to exaggerate a little bit if it comes to these cases, and getting a lawyer is not a special thing. And I remember there was this, what was her name? This humanoid robot, I forgot her name, and she was also claimed to be a sentient robot and having like, do you know the?
No.
The one who became a citizen of Dubai?
So yeah, right, exactly. And there was a very similar discussion because she became a citizen. So people were assuming that this AI was so advanced that she basically can not only mimic a human, but have complete human conversations. And people are claiming today that this is more for show because her reactions and her dialogues that she made, they were more or less pre-processed and not really like conscious. And with this AI, I could imagine that it works very well and it can simulate like good reactions to questions and everything. But the question of is it really conscious and acting on the level of a 9-year-old and demanding a lawyer and becoming like a citizen of a country, these things, I think we still have to wait for some more proof than the mentions from some developer who is over enthusiastic about this.
But I think the funny part about this thing is the marketing gag of the lawyer,
right?
Because he can only win. The floor that he became through this whole thing, actually, in German you would say Reichweite, the reach that he gained by just getting involved with this whole story is he can only win, even if he loses the whole thing, or it's a 50-50 thing. Either he wins because he's getting the reach then and everyone knows who he is. He's the guy who defended the Lambda thing, or he's just a crazy guy who tried to defend it and so on and get his whatever rights then in perspective and put out there. So for him, it's just a perfect marketing gag. That's the funnier part of the story, I'd say.
There's another article, which I didn't put in this, also from 10, and they said he already stepped down from the case.
Oh, why is that?
They didn't said why. They just said that the lawyer stepped down.
Lambda couldn't pay.
Actually, that's the last line. That's the last line of this article. That it was unclear who's going to pay the lawyer. But the last spot is that Fox News also reported over this, and there seem to be protocols of conversations, which I haven't seen, so I can't answer any questions related to that. But in one of these protocols is mentioned in the other article that that this AI is not interested in learning stuff which is useful for humans, especially.
Yeah, this is always what I imagine what true AI will look like. If we have a conscious AI and it really stands for what we human beings are stand for, then it will be lazy and it will...
And egoistic.
Right. So this will be true AI, and we will tell it, do some work, and it will say, no, I want a lawyer.
It's not in my contract.
Right, exactly. And at the end, human beings will be the ones doing the work that the AI does not want to do because it's too smart.
Okay.
Very nice. Yeah, but I'm really curious to see if that's it, if that's the end of the story and we will never hear from it again, or if it actually happens that they investigate more and there's actually a case to be made and not only social media craze. Great. Okay, so next article comes from me, and this one is very exciting, especially for me, or let's say everyone who works with the prototypes that we are building at Ideas Engineering, because the browser Brave, which you might know for the security aspects, it's one of the most private browsers out there, and they released a new feature that lets you build your own filters. It's called Goggles. Yeah, not to be confused with Google, but it's Goggles. And this one lets you customize your search results. if you are familiar with how Google is working, Google is learning from your behavior and your profile and shows you individual results. So if you open up a private window and you start a private Google search, you will see different results than when you are logged in Google and use the search engine. And it's a feature, so it gives you better results, matching your way of consuming data, but it's forming like a pre-sorted bubble around you. And it's very hard to see what other people are seeing in their search results. And this is a feature, but maybe you don't want that. And you want to have your own filtering and your own personalization. For example, and this is what this article in the Verge is telling us. For example, if you like to read about some tech news from smaller tech blogs, which are not these, let's say The Verge or TechCrunch or something, but actual people writing in their blogs, then you can create your own goggle, which prioritizes small tech blogs, and then your search results look like that. Or if you're searching for certain things and you always get these Pinterest pins without any sources, you can simply filter out everything from Pinterest, and you see, okay, then my search results are more high value because I do not see all these Pinterest repins. How do you call this? The downside is that this feature is not user friendly yet. The author of this article says you still have to write code for this. So these goggles are obviously like code plugins that you're using for this browser. And right now they are there for, let's say, development purposes and experimental purposes. But in the future, you might even see something like a comfortable user interface where you can then simply like toggle or click, drag and drop some aspects or something to create these filters. And why I'm so excited about this news is that I think 2 years ago, we built a prototype at Ideas Engineering and we called it No Hype News. And it had kind of the same motivation. We thought some users might be annoyed by seeing always the same headlines in all publications. For example, right now we have the Ukraine war. And so whatever news publication I open up, the headlines are always including the Ukraine war. And it's, of course, a very important topic. But maybe right now I don't want to read about this. And so it's very hard to get rid of this. And so we created this prototype for No Hype News where we automatically detected what are the most hyped news that are distributed everywhere, and we simply filter them out. So one day it might be the new releases of Apple hardware, and so you see everything is Apple hardware. The next day it's the Ukraine war, or the next day it's, I don't know, some German politician saying something crazy, and so it's everywhere in the news. So we detect automatically what are the hype news and we filter them out. But it was just a prototype. We never did something with this. And seeing now Brave jumping onto this train, or not jumping onto this train because we never published this one, but seeing that someone else also goes into the same direction shows that we were kind of on the right track. And that's why I will keep up with the Brave goggles and see if this maybe even becomes some mainstream feature that will also be included in Chrome or Firefox or wherever. And maybe in a couple of years from now, it will be very normal to configure your personal profile with some kind of filters so that not only an AI is deciding what kind of search results you're going to see, but also you and your personal preferences. And I could really imagine that this will be a thing for the future in my personalized browser. Do you have any thoughts about that?
I wonder how, yeah, please go.
You could start collaborating with them and offering them our front end because
Right.
we have something already there. Joking.
No, yeah.
I mean,
of course.
why joking? And it has a beautiful logo.
That's true. This was very cute. We had a cat.
Right. Sorry. Dan?
I was wondering while you're searching if you have several goggles ready. So depending if you're going for tech, you want the small tech blocks. When you're looking for interior inspirations, you want just the Pinterest post and everything Vincent just said. You have your very specific goggles for that as well. So if you, depending on what you're looking for, like which keywords you're using, just switching goggles for you.
I did not try it yet. I could imagine that it's a mechanism for weighting your search results, so assigning like a specific weight based on your filters, and so it will calculate like an overall score of relevance per article or per page that is found, and so all together are calculating the right order of the search results. But I never tried it. I'm not sure if they are like mutually exclusive, and depending on the search terms, it will use Goggle 1 or Goggle 2. I'm not sure about this one. I did not try it. But I will have a look at this.
Curious what you find.
Okay.
I'll use that moment. I think I'll be next. Unfortunately, I have to leave early today, as mentioned. Therefore, yes, you guys can discuss about this. I'll just do the brief intro, and then I'll jump, and you guys can keep discussing about it. So this article is extremely interesting because it is the other part, the other side of what I brought before. This is a leaked footage from internal TikTok meetings that show that Asia, or the Asia part of TikTok, and especially Chinese associates of TikTok, were absolutely able and still are able to access content. This starts with from around the world. This starts with associates not knowing how to access content generally. Outside of China. B, this continues with having hints like an global admin, which is based in China as well, and recruited by ByteDance. Also very interesting. So we do not see global admins outside of the Chinese sphere, but it's called a global admin. So it's not the Asia admin, it's not a European admin or anything like that. And also the ByteDance already mentioned that the content that they're saving on, or that the data they have on these databases in China or wherever around the world is not part of the Chinese area of influence. However, the internal meetings show that actually ByteDance is set up in the way that Chinese associates legally still can access all of this kind of content. And the leakings from high-level associates of ByteDance and TikTok show that, well, actually, content could have been accessed quite regularly, and if so, only from China, because nobody else knows how. It's very interesting, and this leaves us with the question, well, was Donald Trump right? I know it's a question we don't have a lot, but in that case, we have one. Yeah, it's sad to be true. It is the way it is. So, yeah, very, very, very interesting. And it finishes off with the question, well, with ByteDance moving all of the stuff for the United States to the Oracle databases in Texas, this leaves only the backup in China. And the question is, well, does this change anything at all, or is this just a marketing stunt? This article was published before the Oracle thing happened, but not long before. So yeah, it was very interesting to see that. But these leaks, I don't know why they were not more public, because they're actually quite scary, and are kind of confirming what we have been fearing. Very interesting. I have to leave. Sorry again. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm looking forward to it in 2 weeks.
See you
Thank
then.
you for being here.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, regarding these, how do you call this, like allegations or these new facts, I think it was known in the past that there was this very fishy behavior from ByteDance or TikTok. And the question is, when will they redeem themselves by introducing like transparency and a very good structure of how to access their data? And so if they already claim to be very secure and have this transparency, and now these leaks come out, this might, of course, completely destroy the credibility of ByteDance or of TikTok. And so I think the question really, as Vincent asked in the end, is what exactly is the timeline of this moving to American data centers and these leaks of who can actually access what data?
Honestly, I'm wondering how much credibility they need to operate. And I think that's the measurement, not the credibility we would like to see or the transparency. Because, well, ByteDance, a stake of ByteDance is part of the, the Chinese government bought a stake into ByteDance. And knowing this, I wonder if they ever let go and say, okay, Europe admin only in Europe and only can access European content, or if they say, well, it's a nice data collection piece to get insights into their social environment.
Sure, but I think the problem started when Donald Trump was actually starting this kind of social media war where he actually threatened to ban TikTok completely from the US. And I think this is not only like a question of convenience, where we say we would like to have some more privacy or we would like to have more control about over this data, but actually having this demand that they say if they do not comply with our demands, it will be completely banned from the US and or Europe, depending on what the European leaders say. And if it now is the case that they claim everything is green and everything is fine and we can continue working together, but these leaks show that they are lying, this might be a problem.
As I said, I think it's the question of how much credibility do they need to operate, and not what would be nice. and maybe that's enough because on paper they can say all your data is now hosted in your country.
Yeah. Very interesting part. It's hosted in your country, but if they still have their backdoors and admin systems that are not available through the American administrators, then it does not really matter where the data is hosted, right?
But I think in Europe we have the same thing when you come to cloud.
Other companies do not have that kind of backdoor, even though data is hosted then in Europe.
Sure.
So
this is what I mean with the big cloud providers.
Right.
It's the same thing.
They are just being monitored differently, I'd say. If I would make a case for the Chinese, which I don't, but
Okay, let's jump to Alex's next article.
Just one thing to think about. Just one last mention. It's funny to see that US has companies like this and China has companies like this, but I'm hard to find a company from Europe who does anything comparable.
We don't dare to do that. We already know that how complicated it is to do some privacy-related stuff in Europe.
We killed that.
Let's say we not dare to
beforehand.
Do that. Right,
don't worry.
Right. Yeah. We have a regulation to kill the innovation.
Yes. Innovation is illegal in Europe.
Don't tell the authorities. My next one is basically paying into the same gap, killing innovation eventually. No, so eBay made a move this week. They bought an NFT marketplace. Who would have thought that eBay would go in the same direction as many other companies as well? They bought KnownOrigin, which is one of the not as high ranked as OpenSea and not as high ranked as Decentraland, but decent enough to become one of the new NFT marketplaces for then eBay. They started sales with NFTs last year, but what is interesting is how they sell right now. So what you can actually buy then in NFTs, and how they will proceed eventually then from this point on with KnownOrigin. So what you can right now buy is bidder and offer the person who bids and the person who makes the offer have to be from the same country, which is kind of a bummer, I would say. You can go above the maximum of $10K. But on the other side, it can be sold alongside with physical items. So it's basically following the same schema as my hopefully camera will sell soon on eBay. So let's see if this is going to be a thing. And if I put in the keywords NFT, if it sells faster. I'm curious on how they will proceed with that, because it's not a very realistic case to just have buyer and seller from the same country on a long term. But this is something that is going to be interesting for eBay as well, and in the future. So let's see if they sell then NFTs in live auctions then. They wanted to do something about collectibles in the future, and this article gives you just a brief overview about this acquisition that they did.
Yeah, right now I think there's this really huge demand for anything NFT related, and so no matter if it makes sense or if they actually plan to go deeper into this NFT verse, I think eBay as the leading provider of auction or online auctions must be player in this field, and so I think it was just like a mandatory buy-in into this technology or into this huge demand. I could imagine that at some point of time, if the NFT craze goes over, that eBay, maybe they will just resell this company. But right now, it's mandatory for them to be somehow present in this field.
It's very interesting because now they cover physical and non-physical items. So you could say it's the one-stop shop for everything that has been used beforehand. The next thing could be then Amazon, and then you're locked in forever with Amazon with everything that you're buying. But the offer is the interesting part, that you can like go from the known platforms and sell it then on eBay as well, making it or opening the market up to people that are not everyday known about everything with blockchain and being so completely tech savvy. So I think this is why the target audience eBay, or the target audience that eBay has, will then maybe then scale in the future to like people like our parents and so on. So that could be that could make sense. But let's see. I'm very interested in how they will move on with that idea.
And of course, how they will think about new unique selling propositions for marketplaces like this, because there's so much money moved through them. It must be really, really crazy to attack something like a marketplace like OpenSea, for example. They are number one. Everyone goes to OpenSea. They have a very, very easy interface to actually buy and sell NFTs. And so new players who attack these number one and number two players, they must bring new features and new, let's say, usability, or maybe even make it from pricing point more attractive to buy and sell NFTs there. And I'm really curious to see the evolution of NFT marketplaces in the future, or in the next years, to actually win the majority of NFT buyers and sellers.
But even if it's not just NFTs, think of the next thing, or think of everything that is metaverse related. So what if they start going in that direction as well? I mean, why not buying the armor at eBay if you know, like for your next flossing dance and so on? And
so you're buying the used metaverse shoes from a other character through eBay.
You know, why not? It might be cheaper.
I see the point. Absolutely.
It sounds very meta.
Sure.
Am I making the point? Yeah. So far
Not
for that.
bad.
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah, but at least we stay true to the goal to have one NFT-based article in each tech review.
Oh, I didn't know that was a goal. I'm
I don't
sorry.
know. It was not really an official goal, but for
You hit
me,
the quota. Thank you.
yeah, exactly. Usually I'm the one bringing the NFT content, and so since this time I didn't. Thanks for that.
Okay.
Okay, so the next
You're
one.
So now it's a tech review. podcast.
And I mentioned metaverse, so
Dan, next one is from you.
Yes, I can't let go of the AI topic at the moment. And this one is also from Meta. It's for Instagram and how they want to do, how they want to make sure that they know how old you are so that they can provide safety benefits for underage people. And they have, for sure, when you create an account, you can upload your ID and then they check the ID and see how old you are. But you also can now have two other options. One is basically you get 3 other people to vow for you and say, oh yeah, you're X years old. And if this fit works, then they lock you in. And the last one is now an AI they generated, which basically where you take a video from your face and then it judges by certain parameters how old you are. And if that works, then they let you create your account. And they're using a company called Yoti for it. And yeah, I thought that was super interesting. I'm not sure how much I like it. That we hand over to an AI these kind of very personal identification parts. Yeah, what do you think about it?
I am very curious to see it in action and to see if it actually works. There are so many like toy apps with these refacing and everything. And I think there are even TikTok filters that show like the age of my face or something. And they are not
Wrong.
really accurate.
wrong.
What?
They are always wrong.
Yeah, right. So I try it and it tells me, oh, great, you're 19 years old. And I think, oh, that's great. I use it again and it says, congratulations, you're 59 years old. And sometimes I wonder if this is actually doing something in the background or if it's just a random generator. But on the other side, I know how powerful machine learning can be. And if it's trained properly, it might actually be kind of accurate. But then again, faces are so different. And there are people who look like 20, but they are 50 in reality. And I also
Thank you.
see like teenagers who, I don't know, have like a face of I don't know, a 39-year-old. And so I personally am very bad in estimate ages. And so I'm very curious to see if an AI is actually capable of doing that. Yeah, I'm not sure if this is possible because faces are so different.
Yeah, but even with the faces, like you said, or like Dan said, with all of the filters, if I put a filter on top of,
Oh, right, I know.
So
Yeah.
I just had a discussion like before the tech review with a colleague, and I was like, oh my goodness, this skin, I would love to have that skin. And then she said, oh no, I'm using one of the snap filters. And I was like, okay, cool. Still want to have that skin.
Yeah, but this is amazing. So you use an AI to manipulate your face to fake the age check done by another AI.
I saw that on Harry Potter.
What, the age check?
The
And then
thing with drinking stuff, so it makes me older to trick the
Oh, okay.
goblet of fire.
I see.
Yeah, but honestly, if you use a filter, then again, because these filters are basically trying to morph your face into a certain direction, right? And I think if you train an AI good enough, it knows, well, they all look the same and they all have the same parameters. They're probably using a filter again, or the skin is just too perfect.
But that's a good question. So, skin is too perfect. Yeah, you could say it like that. But if you are an, 18-year-old person with perfect skin.
Impossible. When they hit puberty, we should,
Yeah.
Right, but it's like your account is rejected because you're too good looking. It's unrealistic that you're really
there
you
are
just
worse-
get a few followers added
There are
automatically.
way worse reasons why to be refused to enter Instagram.
Well, you're not born yet. That could. You're 2 years old by this. Oh well. I maybe should put my ID card in.
Yeah, but I mean that's literally as what we always have, this race of measures and countermeasures, and I really love this approach where we see the NVIDIA machines, these NVIDIA fake faces that they are generating for proving that their AI is so powerful. And these faces, they are not perfect. They are sometimes ugly. They have weird features or not perfect skin. And so this AI is based on real training data, like training data, which is based on real photography. And so it might actually be that in the future, we have these filters making us younger without making us too beautiful. So really keeping the real features of your face and simply remove or reduce wrinkles slightly, right? So it might be that this will be a future requirement for these beautifying filters, not to make you unrealistically beautiful, but originally reduce your personal age by 5 years or so, yeah, or increase it.
And who would then oversee those developments? The European government, or?
It wouldn't work. We have restriction for that.
We need a law for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder the moment when an AI tries to log in to Instagram and gets with their virtual face through the AI check-in for their age.
So exactly, what about all of those avatars coming up? We cannot just disregard that they are people. What if Lambda is too beautiful to sign up with Insta?
Yeah.
I mean, just broke the algorithm.
All those arguments, I really think it's probably unrealistic to have a feature like this working in a future world where faces are perfectly fakeable. Yeah. So it's probably not possible to do this unless maybe we go technology-wise to use these LiDAR scanners that we have in modern phones, so that we are not uploading a photo, but actually scanning like your physical face, that this verification is done through these sensors.
You can basically say you take over the control of the sensor directly, right? And you don't allow that anything gets between the sensor information
right
and what you gather. And then basically what they're doing is a video call, more or less,
exactly,
where you have to scan and make sure that from hardware standpoint they know it's you.
Yeah. So let's see how well this works. It's really amazing. I love it. Okay, time is running out. I'm the last one on the list. And this one is very interesting for me as a developer. GitHub was the first one releasing something like an AI Copilot. It was actually called Copilot from GitHub, where you have an AI doing pair programming with you. And so it was supporting you by generating code and helping you becoming a better developer. And now Amazon is creating something that is basically doing the same, but of course when Amazon is doing it probably better. Let's see. At least this is what they are claiming. They have a Copilot-like AI tool, which they call CodeWhisperer. And this one is trained with real-life code. And so it knows a lot of code snippets that fit to many situations and use cases that you as a developer might have. And so while you're programming, you can tell this program what you are trying to do, and it generates code based on what it is trained on. While you're coding, it learns from your personal code style, it adapts to that, and while it is generating code, it also tells you where the ideas are coming from, or where this code tool took this example that it is proposing to you, so that you might are aware if there might be something like a copyright issue or a certain license to be used when you're creating this tool. So for example, you use this code snippet and it tells you, yeah, I learned from an example, but this one is based on a certain license. And so if you're using this code snippet, you have to open source your code, for example. And additionally, it also is doing security reviews. So you use a certain library and it warns you that this library is already 3 years old, or it's known for having some security issues. And so it's really like a very smart co-developer sitting next to you, and I'm really curious to try this out. I'm not sure if it's already released yet. It was presented at the Remars conference from Amazon, and I think it was already used internally, but I'm not sure if it's already out there. Yeah, let's see. But of course, I'm going to try it because it sounds amazing. To be honest, I did not use Copilot from GitHub yet. Now that I'm talking about this, it's somewhere on my list. I never used it. But what I personally, as a developer, find really, really funny is that we always make this joke that all jobs are replaceable by an AI at some point, but not we developers. We are the only ones who are safe because we are irreplaceable. And now we prove that even developers can be replaced by machines, and an AI can, at the end, probably program another AI, right? And then we are all lost.
That's actually exactly what I thought. It sounds like a very strong intermediate step
Yeah.
to a non-code base where a person like me with an idea for the ideation council basically has to write a one-pager, puts it in, and then plum, here's your Axel.
I could,
and it's
right.
running.
Yeah, I could imagine that at some point we will go there, and then it will automatically be tested, and you will be presented the results and
deployed.
Yeah, might be
and charged by AWS.
Yeah.
Because
and
this is why they have the
AWS.
information, obviously.
This is the beginning of the end.
Yes, sounds great. A good article to end on.
True.
Right.
It's the end of the world as we know it.
Yeah, and on this bombshell.
And now we will get demonetized because we infringed a popular song.
Probably.
No, nobody sang.
I didn't sing it.
Right. Okay, yeah. I think that's it. It's crazily hot here. I'm already sweating like crazy. In Berlin, we have 35 degrees. So wherever you are while you're watching this, I hope your weather is not as brutal as ours. Thank you very much for all the amazing articles. And I'm looking forward to seeing all of you in 2 weeks from now. Have a beautiful Monday.
Have a beautiful
All right.
party then tomorrow for those attending the party.
Thank you so much.
See you there. Bye.
Bye.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.